Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are joining us today. From Insight Light in Love with Tuere Chica and Living Well Jules and myself. Yes, Nana Nora. And so we're just so grateful that we can reach out and touch and encircle today with you. And hopefully you will learn more about Tuera Chica, mystic astrologer, master musician, poet, and his heart for insight, light, and also about our Jules from Living Well, who will also share um, much about her as a light worker. She will share. How about you, Tuere?
We can't hear
Oh,
you. You've been gone.
yeah,
Can you hear me now?
yes,
Yes.
Can you hear me?
yes.
All right, Baraka, everyone. We're perfectly clear now, shining in the sun. And so this reality of technology and its inconsistency is a part of the reality of molding, shaping us into clarity. And so I'm going to start off with the reality of what's happening now on the planet. We might bring up the chart and talk about it. This is the moment of clarity. And I'm saying to you, Baraka and Mary Clarity. Mary Clarity. Saturn and the sun finally are conjunct today perfectly in the sky. You know, only once a year did they perfectly conjunct and they finally got together. And of course, Jupiter's right there on the other side. And when Saturn and the sun get together, it's about crystallization. So let's start off with Mary Clarity. Come on a journey with us today. A journey of crystal clear, pure springs rising in you, in your heart chakra, in your third eye sight, which is the first eye right from the pineal that reveals insight light in every cell of your body, form and formlessly, like particles materializing into an earth plane experience to fulfill a mission, then rising and remembering your true identity, your intuition. Clarity is deeper than the physical eyes can see. Clarity, like springs of wings that go into the unseen part of you. Clarity, like a honest, crystal clear, panoptic view of the true you. When you take off your public persona and you come back home and you have to honor. So we're going to start off today with Mary Clarity. Mary Clarity, everyone. Thank you for being here. And Nana Nura, Living Well, Jewel, we're on a journey, and this is a great journey, a great awakening. And that's what time it is today, as Saturn and the Sun are merged. I mean, they're aligned, they are hugging, they are submerged and giving form. Saturn gives form. How do you give form to the sun, the electrical light particles? uh, ultra rays, solar rays, violet rays, X rays is all a part of light energy. If the light stops shining on the earth, what will happen? You know, light, the outer light and the inner light. The inner light can't be seen with the physical eyes. It's just on a higher frequency, just like X-ray. This inner light carries you into the space of the ever-present creator, which is beyond words, right? Crystal clarity. I was saying to some people this past holidays, merry everything and happy no fear.
That's good.
And what I mean by marry everything, it's like a marriage is when you merge, when there's an alliance. You know, reminds me of the monk who went to New York, stopped in front of a hot dog stand, and the owner of the stand says, "What can I make?" The monk said, "Make me one with everything." Caused me heat. And so, Amun in ancient Kemetic represents. It's interesting that Amen, has went through the test of time through the ages in many different religions. Amen. So back to ancient Kemetic, the original Amen represented a spaceless space. It was past the waters of none. It was where everything, the source of all things, where everything came, the invisible. There was Amen, and out of Amen, Asar, oneness. But to have oneness, there got to be some two-ness. It's a mystery as ancient as Kemetic history. But the top of that pyramid is where the oneness happened. And at the bottom of the pyramid is where the polarities are. And we come to this polar world, Earth, to raise our vibrations, to ascend, and to amend oppositions and contradictions and fights and fusses and polarities, and to harmonize until we get to boom, asar, oneness. Everything, marry everything. So that means there's stuff that we don't like that happens, and people do things. Marrying it means that we open up and allow the energy to flow through us. If we continue to contract and resist and fight with the things that happen that we don't like, guess what we do? We know the clue. We create more of it. It's spiritual feng shui. We're moving to a higher plane. Some of the little children are getting us and leaving some of us behind, and we're not even seeing it until we're being it. It's not an intellectual gymnastic show here, though you may inspire and bring a lot of people into your sphere hypnotically. It's happening all over the planet. There are people that are very powerfully endowed with intellect, and a lot of respect goes to intellect. But I'm talking about mystical here. We're talking about mystical, that is beyond intellect. That's a hard thing for mental junkies to release. You know, a mental junkie uh, is a junkie. It's like any other kind of junkie. I was in a class with young men and I said, "What is the biggest addiction on the planet?" And they were saying sex and stuff. I said, "Yeah, sex is one one of them is up there, sex. That's like a sensual, for most people having an orgasm and the release and the sensual experience. I said, but no, there's one bigger than that. It's the ego, the biggest addiction on the planet. The attachment to the idea that our mental construct and insights and wittiness and everything is our true identity when it's just a biocomputer that's serving us or dictating over us. To dictate over us is the ultimate slavery, a cruel tyrant master, where the all the database and memories that you've put into your utility jumps up and says, okay, I'm calling the shots now. I'm so advanced and I know so much more than you. And then the spirit gets squished. Now the spirit gets hushed. And well, when the material life, Saturn, when too much Saturn comes in, then all your attention is limited and imprisoned in form.
Mm.
That's when the I is inside of the pyramid instead of over it, living well.
So I have a question to Ari and of course for you, Nana. Um, you spoke of Saturn and the Sun today being what's the word? Conjunct.
Yes,
So they're in the same space at the same time,
yes,
correct?
yes.
And I had a unique experience this morning. It's personal, but I'm going to share it, and maybe you can say how does this relate to the Saturn Sun energy. So, let me grab that. So, and I might have to put pause in 1 second. Someone's knocking on my door. Just give me 30 seconds.
Okay, so nanoneural,
Yes.
this crystallization that we're talking about, it can be very grounding. It's like having the sun conjunct Capricorn, born at a time like that, that happens every 30 years. Whatever sign the sun is in, you're still more like a Capricorn. If the sun is in Aquarius, you're more like a Capricorn Aquarius. If the sun is in Gemini, you're more like a Capricorn Gemini. And if Gemini and air sign is very mutable, and then Saturn or Capricorn energy comes in, now they got some groundation with their mutability. They got some centeredness and connected. They don't become so airy
Mm.
that they're fairy and they forget about the ordinary. I'm just
Okay.
infused with
Okay.
the inner type of news. It's not coming from the mainstream illusion dream, although I will stream to see where the confusion trapped about thinking captive and the ripe and ready to be free
Hmm.
are at on the planet. Uh, I was just seeing the mass shooting uh, that happened in Ohio. Uh, and of course the suicidal bombing in Baghdad and other alarming things that what is going on in Russia, the violence of the police clashing with the and so government is connected with Saturn and power. Sun is
Hmm.
your authority, see, and we're going to look at a lot of celebrities now, people in authority. They're going to make some moves, and some of them are going to be shut down embarrassingly. That's what Saturn would do. Karma returns to you. Where your authority is, if you've been negligent about something, and the main character on the stage of the world right now, of course, is is ex-President Trump. As far as okay, is karma in the wind going to spin back? So, but this is for all of us that now it's like, have you been paying your dues? What have you been building? Where have you been giving your, or on the shadow side, energy contracting? what repetitive fears, what repetitive uh, restrictions, what continual patterns of pain and shame and guilt and depression that has been cycling and is it reach a critical point that now it's going to boom materialize in a way that it's like you're forced to face it
Hmm.
and yes.
That's exactly what I was going to speak to. So I love doing shadow work, which is ironic because it's the hard work, right? It's looking at the fears and the shame and the depression and the causes of things. And so it's rewarding work because if you can get to the heart of the shadow, it can provide real release. And so I had an experience this morning where someone did something and I experienced anger. I was disappointed and then angry. And then rather doing my usual repression, which, you know, I was taught is a good thing to do, you just kind of push all that energy down. I decided to let it out. And it may not have been the best thing, but the other person on the other end of the phone got a mouthful of my energy. Like, I didn't like that, right? And once it was released, I was able to better see that underneath the anger was other things. It really wasn't the anger. The anger was covering some disappointment, some fear, some grief, some other things that were underneath that thing. But the anger allowed me to have the energy to sort of push through it and see it. I'm wondering if that whole exchange this morning had anything to do with this Saturn energy, because I don't recall ever handling that exchange in that particular way before, but something felt like it was saying, go ahead and express this type of energy. And I'm wondering, is that the Saturn energy that says, let's just get this thing and push through it and crystallize it and release it so that something else can be reformed?
uh, Actually, uh, it's Saturn working with a team.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Or struggling with other parts. So, good question. I guess we can bring the chart up on the screen to kind of give everyone a view of it. Is that okay, Nana Nuro?
Absolutely.
Okay, because you know, good question. Let's see if we can get this up. Can you see it?
Okay.
Yes.
This is a
Little
chart. Uh-huh.
small.
It's small, huh?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, well, let's just um
I mean, it looks
let's
like a
see.
good size on this end.
It looks like a good side on your
Yeah.
end. Good. Well,
Well, you have
let's
better
talk.
eyes. You have better eyes, Jules.
Let's talk about it. And for those who are viewing this, thank you
Mm.
for your beautiful presence and interest, or more than just an interest. You're vibrating at a frequency of no words need to be said because it cannot capture the place of your grace and the love on your face and the part that you're doing as your part in the whole, realizing that you are a soul and we're all connected and responsible and you're paying your toll. That's what I'm saying. I really appreciate love you for being here. Uh, you
I
can
say.
all, yeah, Ashe, you can stop, and the recording that will be on YouTube and look at these charts. But this is a chart of right now as we speak on the East Coast, Eastern Standard Time. And as you can see here, this is Saturn and this is the Sun that we said are conjunct. Really, Jupiter is in the conjunction, but both of them have not reached the degree of Jupiter. So the energy is relevant to working together, but it will grow more intense. So the Sun, if we, you know, go back a day or two, let's go back a day or two. You see, The 23rd, the sun was 3 degrees, and then the 22nd, the sun 2. So the sun moves a degree every day, and there's 30 degrees in each sign. So now it's caught up. So this happens once a year. What was happening last year at this time when, approximately when the sun was conjunct uh, with, it was closer, tighter with Pluto here because it was in Capricorn. So it was Saturn, the sun, Saturn, Sun, Pluto, Capricorn. But now, of course, Saturn and Jupiter have moved out of Capricorn. So big stuff was going off last year. Big stuff going off this year around the same time of winter introversion awareness. Saturn and the sun is like, okay, we want to make something crystal clear to everyone. And we're going to get it directly from the literal sun speaking to us. The literal sun. That's right. I wouldn't be surprised if solar flares key up really high. You can Google that with the scientists. But some earth changes as well. But on a practical level with us is facing the important things. And Saturn can be our shadow side. But back to Jules' question here, is it just Saturn? I said, no, Saturn working with a team. So what is demanding attention? See, follow the red line. When I do the weather reports, I say, okay, red flag day, red flag day. So, okay, I won't be too long in this chart, but yeah, this red line is a square. Look over here and see Uranus at 6 degrees, Mars at 8 degrees, squaring both fixed signs, Taurus and Aquarius, squaring each other. So the square is some fire, it's some intensity, it's some power in what these symbols represent. Somebody say symbols represent? Yeah, to make it plain, these symbols are stories and philosophies, and they represent living experiences. This is how we understand them. This is the energy, the characteristics that shapes living experience. So you got your Mars, your aggression. See, your Mars, the ruler of Aries, being squared by Jupiter. Jupiter expands everything it touches. So a lot of people mad, not just you. The other day, I got to tell you, man, I said, whoa, I'm starting getting mad here. And so I had to, but see, that's it. We don't act it out most of the time, as Jewel was saying. This was one time she acted it out. But anyway, Mars, Uranus. What is Mars, Uranus? That's like electricity. It's like you ever get shocked before? Boom. That's like you a jump, you a pump. It's like up your rump, and then it's like uh moving like fire. You ever get a scorpion sting you? That's like Mars and Uranus is like fire. I know personally, a scorpion stung me, a big black scorpion. Anyway, it's squaring the life force, Jupiter, Saturn. So anyway, we got that in our heads now. Let's go back to yeah. So we got that reality uh, of where these uh, beautiful planets are now, and we're back.
We're back.
Good. I mean, went into the universe, so to speak, and now, but it's all related. As above, so below, as our ancient. Why do we keep going back to the ancient Cometics? But we'll get back to that because Nana Noor, I want you to come forward real quick. You can talk to us, but we're going to finish up with this question that Jewel brought forward. And Jewel, reiterate that question to us again because I think it is relevant to many ears that are honed in to Insight Light as Love live currently with Living Love Positive Insight.
hmm Well, it was more just sharing an experience, and I'm sure there's a question in here, but the experience was I felt a burst of frustration, which turned to anger, and then I felt the courage to express it rather than repress it in a way that was not harmful to others. And I was wondering if any of that energy had to do with the alignment of the stars, especially that Saturn energy that you talked about, that crystallization of form. And so maybe that was a way of expressing something that at that moment wanted to be expressed, which was different from in the past where maybe I would have held it in or repressed it, but I felt the courage to express it. And once I expressed it, which was the top energy, anger, then a whole lot of other things was underneath that I didn't know. There was disappointment, there was fear, there was grief. I didn't know those was there. I just thought I was angry. But once I released the anger, a whole ton of other stuff became really clear like, oh, here's what this was covering.
Now you see, hmm so
Clarity, clarity. She got the clarity, right?
yes, that's right. And clarity is okay, but then there's a price to pay sometimes. So if you living well, a being that have pretty much stay grounded and control your response, release some fire and anger. What do you think about the people who have no reins, that are on the drop of a dime, lose their mind up in here? Uh, it's like, so what do you think about that's what's happening on the planet now? We got senators taking guns into the middle of the
Oh,
Senate and stuff. Okay, so but then you don't see no fear there on the surface, but like you're revealing living well, what are the roots of this emotion connected to? It's connected to fear if you're taking guns in there. And so, I served my country. Yeah, I sure did. Military intelligence, and I could be carrying guns now. I was an expert shooter. I got the badge and everything. I could just boom hit moving targets. I was good. Throwing grenades and all that. And I can have a whole bunch of weapons and stuff now. But guess what? What I want a weapon for? You want a weapon generally because there is some rooted in fear. And you are not connected enough with your higher self, family, to trust the to move the energy that the creator of all is united with you, and that protection comes from everywhere. You know, protection will come even from the person that temporarily is trying to assault you. Once they get in their presence, they would transform like the guys who had guns pointed at me. Shotgun right at me, lay down. And I put my head, I said, I breathed deep. Then there was moments of silence right on a full moon on the border of Texas and Mexico. And I breathed deep. And it was silence. I finally looked at him. He put his gun down and walked away. That's miraculous, right? That's some type of mystical stuff going on. But no, we control our atmosphere. The one who breathes the deepest, controls the environment without trying to. Ooh, that was kind of deep, y'all. Did you have your ears on for that one? Did you have that real? Oh, that's like a one of those inner court mysteries.
say it again.
It's time for the reveal to unseal for Krystal Clear. Okay. The one who breathes the deepest
Hmm.
controls the environment without trying to.
In order to breathe the deepest, what I've really received and my heart just welcomes is the higher self is and that's why I love astrology, and why I'm so connected to those of you who are with us, out there. um, I trust that you will receive this as well, because it has allowed me to understand myself more so, who I am. And speaking of the ancient Kemetic, I studied that years ago. And one of the first things we had to do was to buy an astrology book. Know who you are, divine, and you build that, you grow that within yourself. So I'm just saying that's one of the main reasons why I am very much connected here, heart and soul, as one of the major tools for me, in terms of being steadfast and in the divineness of our being.
Nana Nura, you've seen some life in many different places around the world, and I respect who you are, your wisdom. Well, with the question, I'm asking you. So many people would be wondering, like, so how, you know, how is your relationship with astrology helpful in the sense of, how can that help you in a spiritual way? I mean, some people can't make that connection.
Um, I think for me, because I was always, even when I was younger, I would look out and I would, I would just feel and know that there was more. There was more to who I was, and I wanted to connect with that. And so learning astrology helps me connect with the energies of the cosmos, really, because we're star being. We learn in Kemetic wisdom that we're made of the stars. We're stardust, and I relate to that. And I want to know. I want to know more about those energies. And when I came forth and made this journey on this particular journey, what was happening in the stars and planets? What was going on? So I can help understand more about myself, my strengths, and my skill side, if you will, and then my unskilled, my weaknesses. So I can do better. I can be better. I can be that shining light for the divine. I understand. I know I'm a light worker. I'm here for that purpose. So then I've got to understand, how am I going to shine my light brighter? Does that make sense?
It does. It does. And, you know, that language of the heavens, that the Creator has put there is a magnificent ancient reality that has been for thousands of years observed and practiced. Um, but because of the era of slavery, uh, um, the the knowledge, the true knowledge that we had, uh, or where it goes back to the roots of melanated people, has been hushed and squashed and mushed into the dust. Because in slavery, you didn't want the slaves to have that kind of power of knowing. So that power was what Alexander and many who went to early ancient Kemetic, the Greeks basically, and all religions came out of that stream, because really the stream, when you go back to the ancients, the stream goes to the source. So if you're really trying to get to the source, if you have a sincere heart, it's going to take you to a place where everything is connected. That's why all religions have mystics and many, all, spiritual paths. The mystics, they want to merge and have a direct experience with the Creator and know the mysteries of life, and they begin to see in that place of oneness that, wow, the same thing is being said many different ways, living well, and one could hear clearer all these different archetypes and stories all around the world in different religions. There are stories that say the same thing, and so these stories, these mythologies, are stories and of great events, important lessons in spirituality. They have been placed in the sky in positions of stars so that all of life's future inhabitants can know the history. That's the next thing to the Akashic record. The Akashic record is a record of all things that's in the unseen world. So the stars is a record of things. Now, this is so good. I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. I got to say it. I got to say it. I hope you can soar from what I'm about to say. I hope you can be delightfully charged and tickled into ecstatic joy when you hear what I'm about to say. I hope your comprehension can clearly perceive, cogitate, awake, listen, and not forsake what I'm about to say. I'm just like dramatic, right? I
Oh.
know.
Well, they're learning about you, aren't they, Jules? Aren't they learning about him?
I love it because I'm doing what I love, and that's what I'm encouraging
Yeah.
everyone. And love is in what I do. And if I put a spell on you to
Uh-oh.
awaken love in you, then it's a deja vu and a yippee yahoo. What I'm about to say, I learned from Dr. Charles Finch, the Egyptian scholar. And I've requested to meet him. I have not met him. I would love to meet him. This is what I learned, and I knew it, but I needed to hear it clear. On the North Pole is a chain of constellations that circle the North Pole, opposed to circling the constellations that we know of, the 12 astrology signs circle the ecliptic around the fat belly of our beautiful mother. But on the crown chakra of Gaia, let's go higher to
Uh-huh.
the North Pole, where constellations are circling. And so these are 2,600 year cycles. We have entered into the Aquarian age, a 2,600 year cycle, and it officially starts around, you know, 2037 or 9. However, of course, it's already started. We can see Aquarius thing, and it's getting stronger. Some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. The fifth dimension said, "What, Nuranana? This is the dawning of what?"
The age of Aquarius.
Come on. They talk
This is
about,
the dawning of the age of Aquarius.
see, they're talking about Jupiter in this house and this, and some they were rocking it, and only a
Oh,
few
yeah.
really seen a mystical reality behind it. But anyway, this age is here, the Piscean age, slowly moving out. This is the Aquarian age, but this polar, non-linear, vertical energy, this north, the age that's going out, the jackal in ancient Kemetic, he lets us know, and I confirmed it. The jackal was the age of the dog or the wolf or the bear or the coyote, but the jackal, man's best friend, dog became man's best friend, became he says the shepherd of the sheep. People sleep with their dogs, and dogs the dog time. And so we learned a lot. Faithful loyalty. The next movement that we've entered into, that we've been feeling for a while, that officially comes in at 2050. Are you ready? Hold and steady. You are in essence nobody but pure here. Get this clear. This is the age of the cosmic Ethiopian king, Cepheus. And but don't get limited in its meaning. It's not about a male energy. It's about a state of consciousness. The cosmic Ethiopian or cosmic pharaoh. This is the ancient returning, or the future ancient energy, where uh, the consciousness of love, loyalty, mercy, light, ingenuity, service, equality, humanitarianism,
Mhm.
spirituality so deep that the universities were size of cities, where there were initiates and inner chambers of knowledge that was, this is the age returning. And melanated people really feel this strongly, what's happening in them. And especially as we look and we see what's happening around the world on TV and everything, and then with governments and everything. So basically, uh, it's not a thing only for melanated people, as Dr. Finch points out. It's an energy where, as a state of consciousness, where the power of love, wisdom, light take rulership and ownership. And when you're dealing at this level, cosmic level, it wasn't like an ordinary king pharaohs and the Ethiopian Egyptian, this ancient knowledge. It wasn't like ordinary. It was a connection of with the cosmic. So when we talk about having a connection, like Nana Nura, you made an early connection with the stars and you found meaning in those stars. I used to watch the full moon as a little kid, laying in the bed, just meditating on it. It was just so fascinating intuitively. We so this is where the doors are open for us. That's what I'm saying. You feeling it. Come on, you know it in your life, but you got to pay attention to it to get more of it. You can't get distracted because whatever you put your attention to, made in the image of the creator, you're creating that. It may be money, it may be your fears, it may, but this age that's coming forth now, that's why you see Obama got him president and the melanated people are coming forward. Um, you have to have a truthful spiritual connection. We're not talking about intellectual ingenuousness now. You can show off with that, but when someone really deep comes around that got that connection, what did I say earlier? They don't have, it's their presence. The breathing controls their environment effortlessly. And you better not flex or try to hurt these people because they are very important on the planet right now, and the whole atmosphere and everything will happen to protect them. Oh, that's another subject. Like the guys with the guns that came at me. And so having that experience when you're faced with death over and over again, and a magical kind of experience happen, the voice tells you to breathe deep, you breathe into it, you open up, you trust in those situations, and then the magic happens. People disarm, gangs of guys turn away or can't come at you. This is so what's happening on the planet right now. Go ahead to Walmart in that long line, try to get a gun to protect yourself. You're a pun and you're disconnected from well. You better find your spiritual feng shui kung fu energy moving you, and the crew. It's moving energy. You connect with the energy in your meditation. You learn about the energy everywhere by everything that happens around you, every interaction. All right, Nana Nora, uh, I want you to tell us what's on your mind because I'm really.
Well, I'm relating to what you're saying, and when you talk about the Ethiopian, energies, let's put it that, the consciousness, I relate to that because um, I've studied with some others similar to, the gentleman, the beautiful gentleman that you were just speaking about, and what I hear is that there are so many of us here who have been connected to um, what we've learned about spirit through Christ. And myself personally, I was raised up in the Catholic faith because of uh, where my ancestors were located, and there was, so there was that Portuguese influence. Um, Yet I moved away from it because I knew it spiritually, it wasn't, the truth that I was growing inside of me. Yet there was a love of Christ that I held on to, and I understood it more when I started studying the ancient African spiritual Kemetic wisdom. In that it was Ka Ra actor, and it was like the spirit, the soul spirit that we are, the higher self that we are, that Kara acting. So that's what I wanted. I wanted that consciousness. So if many of us, maybe some of you out there might relate to what I'm saying too, is that I would always say it's the consciousness that I love and that I seek, to be more one with.
That's
And,
right.
and and perhaps maybe, they say maybe someone can relate to that that's out there. How about you, Jules? What do you?
Sure. I mean, I know as we're kind of wrapping up our hour,
Yeah,
Yes.
I think for me, what I would like to communicate for folks is understanding that everyone is connected. Like there is a deep sense of isolation and separation moving throughout our planet right now. People are being encouraged to distance themselves from others for reasons. But understanding our connectiveness and our togetherness, understanding that we are not alone, understanding that there's messages and lessons even in the stars. You can look to the stars, you can look to the skies, you can look to nature, you can look to your fellow mankind, womankind, in between kind, and feel that sense of belonging, feel that sense of connectedness, and using that as the strength and energy to move through whatever it is that's going on in one's life in that moment. And so every experience becomes a beautiful life lesson.
yeah, yeah. That's beautiful, beautifully said. I know that you're out there. You heard that. Yeah, I heard that. As we certainly, in getting ready to close as well, what comes to my heart too in sound is that we need more love, more power, more divine love in our lives. And I always say to the divine spirit, bless me, bless us all, in every aspect of our lives. And as beautiful sister Jules said, that we are one. We are one. And to respect the differences, the individuation that we came into, but 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 to know the truth that in spite of the material, the form, that the spirit is what is most powerful. And so joy, joy, joy for sure. And I know, Tueri's coming right back to bring us to say thank you so much to all of you that are here with us. We welcome you. We look forward to being with you again, to circling together again in oneness.
Yes, yes, yes. Yes,
Yeah!
yes, yes. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I am just so thankful. Let me just share these words with you. They came through me and they may relate to you. You are greatly loved. Being alone is sitting at home on the throne of love, dreaming of needing love. You are the power of love rising, rising from the throne of love, illuminating your domain, healing the pain, brightening others, enlightening identity. Your presence in the vicinity is love, beloved, greatly loved. When you are alone, you are love fun bathing in clear receptivity, generating love waves. brightening love rays, beloved. Something in you knows love is the greatest. Fear and weakness attacking your love is a test. Request for the champions of love to manifest. Shiro of love. Woman best. Woman best. Catch that? Time releasing love rising in you now. Here and now. A love spell, beloved. Beloved, beloved. When you are alone, all one being love. Beloved at home, self care to the love you share. Love on the roam, moving, proactive love grooving, love aware everywhere. Be love. Know thy energy is awesome identity, soul, health care for the insight light to repair. Beloved, when you feel lonely and negative thoughts rush in to cheer you down to gloom and doom and wound and frown, yet here and now, soul awake. Initiate, remember, renew, reactivate, rebound, light on, beloved. Love is your being, unbound. Love is your power, profound. Love is your authority crowned. Love is your surround sound, spellbound, renowned, all around, here and now, beloved. Beloved, resound. I'm Tuere Chica, and you have been in touch with your true identity so much. Love in your vicinity, experiencing insight light as love for the good of the community all around the twirling world. Nura, living well. What you've given, thank you so much for your presence. Thank you so much for everyone sharing, and I hope that we can meet again soon.
Okay, thank you.
Let love love you.
All right.
Baraka.